About 2 years ago, I got a job at a logging company after a 3 months fruitless attempt to get a job as a geologist. Thank you, Texas A&M. I'm a member of a 20-man forestry crew. It's an entry-level job that requires you to do pretty much all the dirty work out in the forest. In the beginning, the pay was shit and I had zero cred among my coworkers. It was a tough go at the start, but things got better with time. In my line of work, on a busy day, you can hear the sounds of machines and tools everywhere. Then you have people screaming instructions, some arguments, so the naturally quiet forest becomes the loudest place on earth. But then there are days when 3 to 4 separate groups of 20-man forestry crews work a few hundred yards away from each other, and on those days, things get eerily quiet. Couple of months after I got started on the job, we were clearing a long stretch of the forest for the road crew to build a temporary road to bring in heavy equipment and to transport timber. I was taking a 5-minute break with Clay, who I quickly became friends with and learned a lot from. We were talking about how he and I both ended up with a shitty job, even with our college degrees. When someone screams like he's being chopped in half, we rush to the source of the scream and find Billy, another new recruit, breathing heavily with eyes so wide open his eyeballs look like were about to pop out of their sockets. Others quickly arrive to make sure no one got hurt, but they see Billy physically unhurt, and one by one they walk away laughing and mocking him. I don't know what had happened to Billy, but I feel bad for him because we were the only new recruits on our team. I stick around as the others leave and ask Billy, "What the hell happened, Billy?" "It was there again. It fucking was there again," says Billy. "What the fuck was what? What are you talking about?" I ask again. "I told them I wasn't just seeing things. The fucking thing only shows up when I'm alone," says Billy. This is a kid who thought he'd be working a cushy job after college, and he pretty much ended up in this shithole like me. But that's where our similarities end. I was raised by a father who never hugged me once in my whole life, and I've got 3 older brothers who are just as hard-ass as my dad. Billy, on the other hand, his mom calls him every night around the time his shift ends, and his face lights up when she calls him. It's a mystery to me how and why he got this job. Maybe he didn't have a choice like me, but this kid should really be better off working at McDonald's than out in the woods. So anyhow, I say to Billy, if you're not used to being out in the forest, it gets disorienting when you lose your bearing. People get scared and see things that aren't really there. Trust me, man, you didn't see anything. Billy looks frustrated and still scared and says, "Alright, that's fine. Let's just say that I'm seeing things. Finish the shift with me today. Just help me get through the day." I tell him okay and work the rest of the shift alongside him. He took breaks when I took breaks. He took a leak when I took a leak. The whole day, he made sure he was always next to me. When the day came to an end, the locals who worked the forest drove back to their homes, and as for the rest of us, we all went back to our mobile homes set up on the outskirts of the forest. I was gonna hit the bar with Clay, and even though others don't like it when Billy comes along, I invited him anyways because I knew he wouldn't want to stay alone. We were drinking and having fun while Billy sat alone at the bar. I was gonna go talk to him when Matt, a 12-year veteran logger, told me to sit back down and says, "Kid, I'm only telling you this because you got what it takes to do this job and we want you here for the long term. I know you mean well for Billy, but for your own sake, it's best that you stay clear of him." I had no idea what the hell he was on about, so I say, "That's a little too harsh, Matt. I struggled when I first got started, but I had Clay to show me the ropes, and that's why I'm still here. Billy just needs someone to do the same for him, and he'll turn around eventually. I know he shits his pants a lot, and it's kinda slow, but none of us would be here working this job if we were so perfect." Matt shakes his head and says, No, you don't get it. We get kids like Billy every year, and there's something different about them. It's the bad juju that follows them around. These kids, they don't belong out in the woods. Every year, they either get themselves killed or others get killed with them. Some strange shit happens to them and no one can explain exactly what. So what I'm saying is, if you want to keep all your fingers intact, if you don't want your parents coming to your funeral, you stay away from Billies of the world. You be smart to remember that, kid. Matt and his friends went over to another table after the shitty speech. I was now sitting alone with Clay, so I tell him, I bet he said the same shit about me when I first got started. But then Clay had an unexpected response. Not at all. We all knew you'd make it after the first week. You worked this job for a few years and sometimes you can tell on the first day which new recruit will make it and which won't. The thing with Billy is, and no one's gonna tell you about it in specific, there are some guys that bring out the worst out of the forest. I pretty much had it with all the bullshit in this conversation and say, what's with all the passive-aggressive shit about Billy? If you guys don't like him, then just say it and stop telling me about this ridiculous shit about bad juju. How old do you think I am? Jesus, man. Then Clay puts on a serious face and says, I won't take that personally because I like you and I consider you a friend. So believe me or don't, it's up to you. But I suggest you listen to what I have to say. We've all seen it in the forest. By it, I mean it, because no one knows what it is. It was never a problem before a guy called Shane came as a new recruit one day. Before, we would see things, but like most grown men, we would chalk it up to our imagination going wild, and that'd be the end of it. The problem arose when Shane started freaking out over it. Then we all started seeing it clearer, closer, and for longer duration. Its grotesque skin and figure. We never had that problem before, so people started blaming Shane for bringing some bad juju with him, and we began isolating him. No one worked close to him or even spoke to him. We then noticed a pattern. As long as we don't go near Shane, we didn't see it anymore. I mean, we see it, but it was like before, like something black walking fast out in the distance. A few days later, Shane went missing, and that was the last time we saw him. After Shane, every year we got at least one loser like Billy, and most of them either quit after the first week, but some went missing like Shane. The investigations never went too far. The logging company we work for owns about 50% of all business in this town, so the mayor and the sheriff understand how important it is that the on-site accidents are kept low profile. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about the missing person. We don't bite the hand that feeds us. Stay away from Billy, but if you really want to help him, convince him to quit. Clay left to Matt's table after that, and I felt angry because I had good things going for myself with the guys, and I fucked it up to defend Billy the moron. We all went our ways after a few more pints, and when Clay, Billy, and few other guys arrived at our mobile home, Billy asked if he could speak to me for 5 minutes. I was tired, and frankly, I didn't want to speak to him, but I said yes anyways. Hey, bro, don't take this the wrong way, but I was wondering if I could sleep in your trailer tonight. I'll sleep on the floor, of course, says Billy. I was a little drunk and annoyed at him. Do yourself a favor and fucking quit tomorrow. I ain't your friend, I ain't your brother, and I sure as hell ain't your fucking mother. Get the fuck out of my face, faggot. I went to sleep that night with zero guilt of what I had said to Billy. Little did I know it would haunt me till this day. Allow me to add, I've got nothing against gay people. I said what I said to Billy out of anger. I just wanted to make that clear. So anyways, I woke up early in the morning to the knocks on my door. I opened the door and saw everyone near Billy's trailer, and the sheriff was standing in front of my door. He says to me, "Son, did you notice anything strange about Billy last night?" "Not really, sir. Other than the fact that he was scared shitless." "Why? What's going on?" I answer, and the sheriff says, "It's nothing. It looks like the kid ran off last night. This is what happens when you put a boy to do a man's job. Sorry to bother you, son. We're done here." And just like that, the investigation came to a close, and we didn't hear anything about Billy until his mom came to speak to the sheriff and our manager. Billy never showed up home, and we couldn't find him anywhere in the woods, so he just disappeared into the thin air. A week ago, this is about 2 years after Billy went missing, I was working on my truck when I see someone wave at me from quite a distance. I walked towards the person because people get lost out here all the time, sometimes hurt and seeking help. When I walked about halfway, the person was gone. I thought it was rather strange and continued to walk to the spot where the person originally waved at me. I stop at the spot and look around when someone jumps down from a tree branch right above me. I'm face to face with this person and I fucking freak out because it's Billy. No, more like Billy's face on a grotesque looking, all twisted up body. It says, "Help me," in Billy's voice. Then suddenly the face changes into the most frightening looking beast I had ever seen and says in an awful voice, "Help! Help me! Help! 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 Help me! Help! Help! Help me! Help me! Help me!" I turned around and ran for my life. All the while it continued to scream, "Help! Help me! Help! Help!" I turned around again to look at it when I got to my truck, but I couldn't see it anymore. I didn't tell anyone about what happened and I quit on the same day. I packed everything up on the spot, drove to the manager's office, and gave them my resignation. I knew I was the next person on its list, and I wasn't waiting around to be stuck with Billy for an eternity. I have no idea what the hell is what I saw, and I have no interest in probing any further. I just want everyone to know there are things out in the woods that no one teaches us they exist. We can sense a lot more than what they teach you in school. So if you feel something ominous, believe in your gut instinct and get your butt out of there. 7 years ago, I was at the lowest point of my life. I had been laid off, gone through my savings, dumped by my girlfriend, and evicted from my apartment. I was able to stay off the streets for the first month by staying at friends and relatives for a few days each, but after the first month, I was out of places where I could stay. One thing that I've learned through my hardship is that people often overestimate the level of support they can expect from friends and family. Staying at friends or at families when things are rosy is one thing, but when things look bleak on your end, the first thing they worry is that you might overstay your welcome. Cold, but that's reality. I used to hold grudges for that in the past, but now I've come to a realization that I've got no one to blame but myself for the trouble I've caused them. It was exactly the 180th day of living as a homeless. By this time, I was living in my car and washed myself at Target and Walmart, where they had private bathrooms for mothers with children and the disabled. I couldn't get a job anywhere, and every day I looked worse and worse. You'd be surprised how fast your appearance changes once you stop having a roof over your head. I was starting to look like a homeless man because that's what I was, and employers don't hire homeless people. It was as simple as that. I'm a licensed gun owner and I still have my pistol with me in the car. On that 180th night, I had planned to drink with the little money I had left and was going to put a bullet right through my head. I went to my favorite pub, spoke to the bartender one last time. He felt bad for me and served me lots of free booze. I was about to get up and drive to a remote place to end it all. Halfway walking towards the exit, a truly breathtakingly beautiful woman waves at me. Even in the best of times, she would have been way out of my league. I had to check behind me to make sure she wasn't waving at some guy in my back. There was no one and I had nothing to lose. What the hell, let's see what she wants. I go over to her table and she says, "Grab a chair, mister." But I change my mind and say, "Thank you, but I'll pass. Have a good night, ma'am." But she's not done with me. "Don't be rude and grab a chair. You don't even know why I want you here." "Listen, I don't know why you want me to sit with you. Unless you're blind, which you're not. You see what I am, so whatever game you're playing, I'm not interested." I keep walking and she grabs my wrist. you end it all tonight, then you'll never find out how your life might have turned out if you listened to what I had to say. How the hell would you know that? I said, genuinely surprised. Let's see, thick beard that hasn't been trimmed in months, walking around in the same clothes you sleep in, getting drunk with your last coins. Do I need to be a psychic to know of your intention? She says, and I don't know if it's that obvious or if this woman just knows things. I pull up a chair and sit across from her table. So, what do you want with me? I want to help you get back on your feet, she says, smiling. And why would you want to do that? You don't even know me. I don't know any of these people, she says, pointing at the people in the pub. I don't know them and they don't interest me. But you, I see potential in you. I'm done with you, young lady, is what I say when she grabs my chin and looks straight into my eyes. I don't know how or why, but her gaze is so intense that I genuinely feel fear, pure, unadulterated fear. She says, don't waste your life by jumping off a building or capping your ass with a 38. I can make you rich, help you attain everything you want in life, as long as you do everything I say. What do you want the most right now? The fear I felt for her has turned into lust. I say to her, I want to fuck your brains out. I have no idea how I even got out of that pub, but the next thing I'm seeing is her on top of me, fucking my brains out instead. I've had exactly 11 sexual partners up to that point, but not once have I experienced this much pleasure and bliss. Every time she moves her hips, I shake and tremble from the intense titillation. We continue making love and we must be at it for hours now, but I don't want this to end. I close my eyes, taking it all in. When I open my eyes again, it feels like hours must have passed and I'm lying alone on an exceptionally classy bed, in a room that looks like a place where Queen Elizabeth might sleep in. I get up, put on the new set of clothes that I laid on the bed, and walk towards the window. It's a clear day outside, but more importantly, the front lawn, if you could call it that, stretches to where the eyes can't see. What the fuck would a woman so beautiful and wealthy want to do with someone like me? She's probably not trying to kill me or eat me, because if that was the motive, then I'd be lying on a platter and wouldn't have woke up on that fancy bed. Well, kill me or eat me, I need to find out what the hell's going on. I open the door and step into the hallway. It's adorned with expensive looking paintings, sculptures, and has thick carpets that I want to sleep on. I look left and right, but both ways look like an endlessly long walk to the end. I choose right and arrive at a staircase. I could hear her talking to someone on the lower level. Ah, there you are, she says. Come down, let's have breakfast. Okay, so she's definitely not gonna eat me. I walk down the stairs and stand in front of her. She pulls my head towards her and kisses me passionately. This kiss feels better than an orgasm. Look, at the cost of sounding like an asshole, I don't even know your name. I say to her because I felt awkward not even knowing the name of the woman who fucked my brains out last night. Nilda, now you know. Come on, let's go. I had the cook prepare all your favorites, she says. Wait, how do you even know? Did you ask me last night while we were, She smiles and drags me into the dining room. Holy fuck of all fucks. Long, expensive looking table, food end to end, 2 maids ready to serve, and the fucking cook on a standby right next to the table. Is this how the billionaires spend their money? I look thoroughly at the contents on the table, and they are everything I enjoy eating. Thick juicy steaks, sushi, pasta, and all the fruits that could probably fit an entire battalion. I eat like a king, then she shows me around the mansion. From this day until a week later, we eat, fuck, and sleep, eat, fuck, and sleep, lather, repeat, and rinse. I just had the best week of my life when she says, "It's time to make this all yours, John." I don't care if this isn't mine. As long as I can spend the rest of my life here with you, who cares if this isn't mine? I say to her. That's not how this game is played, John, she says as she wags her finger. I belong to someone much more powerful than me. Hell, someone much more powerful than anyone and everyone. You get to taste me for a week and a week only, but if you do as I say, you can have as many women as you like. So are you ready to take on the challenge? I knew there was a fucking catch. Why would this woman, who makes Nicole Kidman look bland, would want anything to do with me? I angrily say, you fucking wealthy cunts are all the same. You fucked enough of everything, and you thought it'd be fun to fill my head with hope and high just to throw me out on the curbs when you were done, didn't you? She looks angry and has the same eyes that crippled me with fear at the pub. But then in an instant, her facial expression changes to a smile and she hands me a briefcase. Go on, open it. I open the briefcase and it's filled with stacks of $100 bills. My jaw drops to the floor and she says, I'll up the stake. You can take what's inside that briefcase and walk away. Or you can play the game and have everything we have prepared for you. That includes this house, more money than you can ever spend in your lifetime. And as an added bonus, you get to have me for life. As crazy as it sounds, I don't care for the money or this house. All I care is that Nilda will be mine if I play whatever the fuck game she wants me to play. Oh shit, this headache. What is this? It feels like a bomb just went off in my head. Why is that all of a sudden I'm thinking of my mom and dad? Dad passed away when I was only 7. He was killed in the line of duty as a cop. And Mom, I lost her when I turned 19. She died of cancer. Growing up, I used to be a good kid. Maybe too good for my own good. Even as adults, I trusted people too easily, and some of my so-called friends used to use that against me, to borrow money from me and never pay back. They knew I'd be forgiving as long as they had some sad story to go along with the reason of why they couldn't pay me back. That was Mom's biggest concern before she passed away. I remember she used to tell me all the time, you earn everything in life. You don't go asking for free things to people, and you don't make friends with people who ask for free things. If someone offers something too good to be true in exchange for nothing, you turn around and run away from that person as fast as you can. It was a wake-up call, like Mom made me remember what she used to tell me for me to make the right call. This is by far the hardest thing I ever had to do, but I said to Nilda, I'm fine and I'm just gonna leave. Then I turn around and walk to the front door. I can hear Nilda talking to me in frustration. This is one chance you can change your life forever. You step out of that door and that'll be the end of us. I slammed the door shut behind me and walked on the paved road that led out of the property. I left $1 million at the very least on the table, but I don't feel bad at all. I haven't felt this good in ages and was filled with hope that something good might happen. But that was just a walk. The reality outside Nilda's mansion was still harsh. Even so, I had renewed hope and was going to give life one more try. If I chose to seek help at homeless shelter, the best I get is a bed for a night. I had to find another means to escape this life. I went to a church in the town I grew up in, and they wanted nothing to do with me. I paid a visit to a local synagogue, and the same. I even went to a newly opened mosque, and you guessed it, the same. I offered to clean for them in exchange for a place to stay and a small allowance to get back on my feet. People who interviewed me spoke down at me and treated me like a subhuman. Place of love and worship, right? Fuck that. The place where I got help from was a local body shop that was owned and ran by an ex-con. After getting rejected by everyone I knew and every place I felt I could receive help from, I went into a body shop because you have nothing to lose by asking. The boss, my current boss that is, gave me a job there and allowed me to sleep in the office until I could afford my own place. He didn't pay me much at first, but it was fair because I knew nothing about auto body repair. I worked hard and learned fast. Fast forward 6 years, that's today. I am now the manager of the same body repair shop. Last night, I went to the same pub I met Nilda. It's a bit of a drive to get there, but I wanted to go there and thank the bartender who was so kind to me that night. I got inside the pub and walked towards the bartender. As if by fate, I see a man who looks exactly like the man I was 7 years prior, when I was contemplating suicide. I pull up a stool and sit down next to him. I wanted to speak to him. I wanted to help somehow. But before I even had a chance, the man stood up and walked towards the exit. That's when I saw Nilda sitting at the same table, waving at the man. She didn't look a day older than from the day I met her. She gave me a glance with the coldest eyes, but then showed the same infectious smile to the man who now had walked up to her. I thought about stopping him, but I knew I couldn't. Only he could do them for himself. 5 minutes later, they were gone. I spoke to the bartender, thanked him, and left him a hefty tip. The next 7 days went by as smoothly as one could hope for. I went to work this morning, and as usual, we had newspapers delivered at our door. Yeah, people still read newspapers. We order them for clients with small jobs that choose to wait at the shop. I finished the morning prep in half an hour, and I still had another half hour until we opened. I grabbed a newspaper and started reading. That's when our local sheriff came into the shop, driving his personal vehicle. It was his day off, and he wanted me to take a look at some minor dings on the passenger side door. While I make the repair, he starts talking to me about an odd case he's working on. Apparently, the sheriff found the dead body of a man at a local park not too far from Nilda's mansion. He didn't give out too much detail, but he did mention something very strange. Upon autopsy, the examiner's office concluded that the man had died from exposure, but what stood out was that he had human bite marks all over his body. Some left deep flesh wounds, and some just tore his skin off. The bite marks were left by many different people. The man had been bitten by multiple assailants. Even with the wounds, he was determined fit enough to walk himself to a hospital, but for some reason, he chose to stay put where he was attacked, naked, freezing to death. What could put a man in such a shock that he couldn't even move? What really happened to that man? My only guess is that the victim is the same man I saw Nilda take with her. The briefcase full of money that I could walk away with had a price tag on it. So did the game she wanted me to play. If not for my mom's voice resonating inside my head, I would have probably suffered the same fate. My mom took care of me, even in the afterlife. Thanks, Ma. I miss you, and I love you.